And let me conclude by again reminding my friend, the ranking member, what the purpose of this committee hearing is, and that is to discuss crime and to try to come up with a solution to the escalating, out-of-control crime in this city. This committee has legislative jurisdiction over Washington, D.C. The fact that the President of the United States and a majority of Democrat senators voted with us on our resolution shows that crime is a bipartisan issue. The concern to reduce crime is of the utmost importance to every American. And we take that role seriously on the committee. And I'd like to remind the ranking member that when his party was in control of this committee over the past 2 years, to my knowledge, we had the last three hearings that this committee had on Washington, D.C., all pertained to the Washington Commanders football team and had nothing to do with the crime in Washington, D.C. I want to quote the Washington Post editorial board from the article that I submitted to the record. Washington could become a more dangerous city if the D.C. Council votes Tuesday, as currently planned, to override Mayor Muriel Bowser's veto of a bill that decreases punishment for violent crimes such as carjacking, home invasion, burglaries, robberies, and even homicides. The far-reaching rewrite of the criminal code will further tie the hands of police and prosecutors while overwhelming courts. With the capital city awash in handguns, the measure would also scale back penalties for convicted felons illegally carrying firearms as well as for using them to commit crimes. I also want to quote the D.C. Police Chief, Robert Conti, and he said, and I quote, "We need to keep violent people in jail. Right now, the average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times prior to them committing a homicide. That's a problem." End quote. Now, I want to thank our witnesses who are here today, and we want to be very clear. We want to work with you to solve this crime crisis we have in our nation's capital. But we can't work with you if you don't work with us. Your position, it seems like, has been hands off our city. And that's not going to fly with the Republicans on the House Oversight Committee. I've explained what our legislative jurisdiction is with respect to the District of Columbia, and we take that very seriously. Reducing crime is the centerpiece of our legislative platform in this new majority. So I will close by, again, making the point that we want to work with you, and you're going to have to work with us, or we're going to continue to do and pass legislation like the bill that Representative Clyde passed and was signed into law by President Biden. The only law that President Biden has signed into law this whole Congress, which again shows the sense of urgency among both parties to do something about the escalating out-of-control crime in Washington, D.C. Now, with that and without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days within which to submit materials and to submit additional written questions for the witnesses, which will be forwarded to the witnesses for their response. If there is no further business, the committee stands in recess for 5 minutes, and then we will start back with our business meeting. The committee stands in recess.